Welcome to the Township Mapleton Council meeting for Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. Welcome everyone that's in the room and everybody that's online. We're going to have a good meeting. It's going to be rather quick, I think, but we'll find that out. But if you have an opportunity right now, please rise for O Canada. Somebody's saying we're going to have a quick meeting. Watch it turn out to be a really long one. We do have some big items that are on today. We do have a couple of planning items, as well as the building department report that's quite extensive. Thanks, Mike, for that. That was, what, 300 pages just in itself? I think it was pretty good. So, any declaration of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we have confirmation of minutes. Moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens, that the minutes of the Township Mapleton Council meeting held on March 24th, 2026 be confirmed as circulated in the agenda. Any comments? All in favor? It's carried. Going into the item number 6, which is items under the Planning Act. First one is that we have this public meeting under the Planning Act, hear comments from the public and agencies, and give consideration to application ZBA 2026-02 for a proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Subject lands are located at Part Lot 5, Concession 16, with a municipal address of 7810 16th line. Entire property is 121.1 hectares. Overall, it is occupied by a dwelling and a shed. Purpose and effect is to rezone the retained agricultural portion of the property to remove the site-specific zoning on the lands and place the property in an agricultural zone, as well as permit an oversized existing accessory structure on the severed parcel. This rezoning is a condition of severance application B7325, which has been granted provisional consent by the Wellington County Land Division Committee. A lot line adjustment severs a 39.8 hectare parcel of farmland which was merged with the adjacent farm property. Retained lands are 1.1 hectares and contain a dwelling and a shed. Mr. Clerk, statutory requirements, please.
Thank you, sir. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice on March 20th. There's a comment summary in the Township Planning Report. Proper on-site postings were completed March 23rd. Source water comments and GRCA comments both had no concerns, and the County of Wellington student planner comments are also in the package.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Now to our planner, Linda Redmond.
Thank you, Mayor. So it's pretty straightforward. It's a condition of consent. They severed the farmland and merged it with the adjacent farm. And there was a site-specific zoning on the parcel to allow a number of things that are no longer in operation. So we wanted to remove that site-specific so that it couldn't merge with the other parcel. And also, they're retaining an accessory structure on that retained rural residential lot that's oversized, so we're just recognizing that in the zoning.
Thank you. I believe Dwayne and Anita are represented by Van Harten. Do we have any comments you'd like to add? Just go up to the microphone behind you if you do.
I don't really have much to add.
Nothing to add right now?
If you have any questions.
Okay, if you have any questions, perfect, thank you. Then we'll hear of those in attendance. Please indicate so. Your name and address for the record. First hearing those in support. Anybody here wishing to speak in support of this amendment? Anybody here in opposition? Questions from members of council on this? Okay, and then I'll conclude this public meeting. Thank you. The resolution I have here is Resolution 6.1, moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Woodham. Township of Mapleton Council received for information planning report ZBA 2026-02, dated April 14, 2026, regarding Part Lot 5, Concession 16, and is municipally known as 7810 16th Line. Comments or questions further? All in favor? It's carried. The next public meeting we have is under the Planning Act to hear comments from the public and agencies and give consideration to application ZBA 2026-04 for a proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Subject lands are located at Part Lot 3, Concession 14, municipal address 8622, Concession 14. The entire property is 38.2 hectares, occupied by a dwelling. Purpose and effect is rezone the retained agricultural portion of the property to prohibit any future residential development. This rezoning is a condition of severance application B7625, which has been granted provisional consent by the Wellington County Land Division Committee. Consent severs 0.7 hectares rural residential parcel with an existing dwelling from the overall farm parcel. The retained parcel is 37.5 hectares. Mr. Clerk, statutory requirements.
Thank you, sir. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice before March 20th. There's a comment summary included in the Township Planners Report. On-site postings were completed March 23rd, and there were no concerns expressed from both the GRCA and Source Water, and is comments in the package from the County of Wellington Student Planner. Thank you.
Back to the planner. Linda, anything to add?
No, standard surplus farm dwelling severance, and we are restricting residential on the farm portion.
Thank you. Anything from the owners to add? No? Go ahead.
I have no questions, so nothing to add, but I'm here for any questions, so
Thank you very much. Any questions or, sorry, anybody here in the audience wishing to oppose the application? Anybody wishing to speak in favor of it? Questions from council members? All right, thank you. That'll conclude that public meeting. We'll go into Resolution 6.2 with Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens. Township of Mapleton Council received for information planning report ZBA 2026-04, dated April 14, 2026, regarding Part Lot 3, Concession 14, known as 8622, Concession 14. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. We'll conclude that. We have no delegations today, so we'll move right along to the building department. We have the March 2026 month-end building department report. Mr. Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Mapleton is continuing to exceed expectations construction this month. We issued 31 permits for $88,453. It's a pretty substantial number for March. Wasn't expecting it this year. We thought that it was going to be pretty slow. And the good news is we're starting to see housing being built in Mapleton again, which we didn't see a lot of last year. So we're pretty happy with our numbers. Happy to answer any questions everyone has about building activity.
Any questions? Yeah, it's all looking good so far. Got the resolution here, 9.1, moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Woodham. Township Mapleton Council received Building Department Report BD 2026-05, dated April 14, 2026, regarding permit activity for the month of March 2026. All in favor? It's carried. Moving right along, Mike, the next one.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. We're doing a total overhaul of our building bylaw. The current one in effect is from when Mapleton began in 1999, so it didn't address things like digital permitting systems, PDFs instead of 3 copies of a drawing labeled on my desk. We've got new code revisions that don't have mandatory inspections, so we've added things like radon gas inspections and, hydronic heating inspections for under slab insulation. We've also made sure that our fees and charges bylaw is properly coded in this one, so we don't have to keep updating the building bylaws to make sure our fees and charges are being applied correctly. And yeah, 2 key things that council should be aware of in this is that I'm asking for council to delegate authority to enter into conditional permits, which is it's a big time saver when people want to get a project moving fast to not have to come to council and ask for permission to enter into an agreement, and also to designate inspectors. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about what we proposed.
Thank you. Resolution 9.12, moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens, that council receive report BD 2026-06 regarding the proposed adoption of an updated building bylaw, and further that council considers approval of building bylaw 2026 being a bylaw respecting building demolition, conditional change of use and occupancy permits, payment of fees, inspections, appointment of chief building official and inspectors, and a code of conduct, and to repeal bylaw 99-39. Questions for this? Councillor Woodham.
Thank you, Mayor Davidson, through you to our Chief Building Inspector. Will the building code have to be revised again? When further in our agenda, there's the package from our planner, Michelle McCabe, and showing how that Ontario is streamlining the building code. So will there be some changes again?
Through you, Mayor and Council, my understanding of streamlining the building code is that they're going to delete large sections of it and call it redundant.
Okay.
We don't have an idea of exactly when that's going to happen. However, that won't really affect the building bylaw as far as this is concerned.
Okay.
Building bylaw is more about procedures than it is about building code.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further questions, Ed? All right, then I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. That was an easy one for you, Mike. Very good job on revising that. It's quite extensive, but obviously you took time and went through it, and I can tell you that it was interesting reading,
Yep.
all of it.
Thank you, Mayor. It was a team effort. Took us at least 6 months to get this thing going, and shout out to Jenny Spees for editing and getting all the formatting correct. So, thank you.
That's always important. We'll move right along to 9.21 then for the Finance Department.
Thanks, Mayor Davidson. This report follows a number of previous reports regarding the Community Housing Development Funding Program from the county. This deals with the $1 million allocation to the lower tier municipalities to support bringing in affordable housing incentive programs. The report makes reference to the previous reports that were brought forward and the direction from council to allocate the full $1 million in support to Conestoga Crest Seniors Living. So this report is in place just to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute an agreement with the county for that $1 million of funding. And further that, the CAO and myself establish an agreement with Conestoga Crest Seniors Living for the distribution of those funds. So as the report indicates, the plan would be that the initial $500,000 allocation goes directly to Conestoga Crest. The remaining $500,000 be placed in our affordable housing reserve for future distribution to Conestoga Crest at specific milestones to be determined. So essentially just looking for approval to get the agreement signed by the mayor and clerk and submitted back to the county.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Resolution moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Woodham. Council received report FIN 2026-15 regarding the Community Housing Development Funding Agreement for information. And further, that council authorized the mayor and clerk to execute the Community Housing Development Funding Agreement with the County of Wellington, and that the CAO and CFO be directed to establish the requisite agreement with Conestoga Crest Seniors Living for the distribution of the funding. Questions on this one? Councillor Ottens.
Yes, thank you, through you, Mayor. I was just wondering, is there a timeline or deadline on this for the Crest to provide something, like showing something for this 500, like plans or something like that?
Mr. Barron?
Yeah, so, with the 500,000, they're already well on their way. They've been meeting with Colliers and things like that, so for the first 500. But within the agreement, there will be some checkpoints. You know, they have to start building. All permits have to be permitted by December 31st, I think, 2027. And so those are the kind of securities that we're going to put in the agreement to make sure that the additional 500 is carefully distributed.
Good, thank you.
Further questions? Councillor Woodham?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Davidson, again, question, I'm not sure, back to Patrick, perhaps. Just similar to what Marlene was asking, I was just wondering if there's a safe zone, that wonder if something happens that they weren't able to raise enough money, and the project can't be completed, is there something in the agreement?
Yeah, I guess what we're looking for is to have direction from council to work on that agreement with the Crest, with SV Law. Like, we're going to be putting the milestones and checkpoints in that agreement to ensure that everything's in place to make sure it moves appropriately. Ultimately, the key agreement is the first one between the county and ourselves, that we're committing that we're going to only allocate the funds to Conestoga Crest, and that everything has to be in place by December 31st, 2027, or else we do have to forfeit funds back to the county. So I'm sure they're eager to make sure they get everything done in an appropriate time, and we are too, because none of us want to return the funds back. We want it to be deployed appropriately in Mapleton.
Hey, Mr. Kelly, I was going to mention that it goes back to the county if it doesn't get. And that's not what we want. We want something to be done. And I can tell you, as council, that when this came up at county, at the meeting that we were there, and it was presented to the Administration of Finance and Human Resource, there were just a few questions. Overall, it was well received. And actually, when it went to county council, no questions, well received. This is the kind of projects they were looking at, a project that would, if we didn't provide them funding, it would sit on a shelf. But this is the catalyst that gets them moving. And that's what the county was looking for in these projects, is to be able to move that needle where else it would never have moved. So they were very happy to see our application and how we presented it. So kudos to our team for doing that presentation and working with Conestoga Crest on that. Further questions? Councillor Ottens?
Just a comment, I think that having us as the township and the county support this so heavily will help them a lot when they're applying for further funding from the higher levels, when they see how well we're encouraging it too with funding. So I think that's good.
And that's where Colliers comes in to assist them. We've linked them up with that. I've been in touch with members of the Liberal Party, the Federal Liberal Party, as well, as that's where they're going to be seeking the funding. And hopefully, and Mr. Nader, of course, he knows about it. So there's going to be a lot of advocacy happening as this project goes forward. But it is a great project, and really we can't see why they would turn down such a great project as this, because it's going to add lots of senior housing to a rural community, which is right up the line of what they're looking for in the federal government. So we'll be very, very surprised if this doesn't pass. And if it doesn't get accepted, I can tell you we're going to be very, very vocal about it with the federal government now that we have a few contacts over there that we can advocate to. So I appreciate the work done by this council and by the staff here and Conestoga Crest to move this project forward, and of course County Council for agreeing that this is a great project to move forward. Anything further? All in favor? It's carried. Then we'll move into 9.922, proposed amendment to the procurement bylaw. Aman?
Thank you, Mayor Davidson and Council. So this report is regarding the proposed amendment to Procurement Bylaw 2025-047. At the meeting that, council meeting held on October 14, 2024, council had approved a new procurement bylaw, and the intent was to modernize our procurement practices, reflect current best practices, and improve transparency and efficiency. This report is really more about clarification rather than a change. When council had deliberated the bylaw, there was a clear discussion about how budget variances would be handled, specifically the 10% and the 15% thresholds. While this direction was supported by council, staff later identified that the final wording of the bylaw that was signed did not fully capture that intent. So this proposed amendment cleans that up. Revisions were done specifically to Clause 23 and then Schedule A to methods of procurement, which are highlighted in this report. These changes clarify approval authority once council has already approved the projects through the annual budget process. No modification is being done to decision-making authority, just that the projects that are approved through the budget. And the council will still receive reports for information on any larger procurements. And the only time a contract would come back to council for approval would be if the awarded cost exceeds the approved budget by more than 15%. Everything else is simply ensuring that bylaw accurately reflects what council already agreed to and allows the staff to carry out the approved projects efficiently and transparently. Also available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ahmad. Resolution 9.22, moved by Councilor Reid, second by Councilor Martin, that council receive report FIN 2026-16 regarding the proposed amendment to procurement bylaw 2025-047 for information. And further, that council approve the amendment to the procurement bylaw to revise Clause 23 and Schedule A in order to accurately reflect council's previously approved intent from the October 14, 2025 meeting. Questions to Ahmad? All in favor? It's carried. Now we'll go to the next one, which we now go to Michelle McCabe when we're going to be talking about Bill 98.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Davidson. Basically, this report is just a teeny tiny highlight of the information that was given out, and which is also included in your package for the media, and I believe the clerk has also attached quite a large document that was received from the province. So we had an unprecedented amount of announcements that were made on March 30th that not only included the province, but also our federal government. However, my report was just to briefly touch upon the things that matter the most to the planning department, so that I'm not speaking out of term for, such as the building department and or for development charges, because that's really in charge of our CFO. However, the ability, should council wish to make comment as a council, or whether or not you're happy to just have the planning department put something together to bring forward, or obviously it would always go through our CAO, Manny Barron, to report back on or make comment for any of the deadlines, which are quickly approaching. So I would have to have something before you for our next council to meet all of the April 29th comment deadlines, and then the next ones all fall for, what is it, I think May 14th. All links to are in your agenda package, yeah, so it is May 14th. The first one, interestingly enough, is the consultation on all aspects of Bill 98, and then it goes into very specific pieces thereafter. But if council, obviously was not intended to blindside you tonight, but should council have any very specific questions or concerns, then I can bring those back in a report for the following council.
Thank you. The resolution is moved by Councilor Martin, second by Councilor Reid. The council received report PL 2026-03 for information and discussion purposes. And further, that council directs staff to return to council with a draft recommendation, provide comments for ERO 026-300, Building Homes and Improving Transportation Infrastructure Act 2026 and related regulatory changes. Questions? Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question was my comment was really, I'd be fascinated to know what the planner's opinion is on some of these changes. My concern, looking at the dates, were like, that's a quick turnaround. So I guess the question is, do you have the ability to even spin something around in this short of a timeline, or what does that look like to you?
Michelle?
Thank you through you, Mayor Davidson, to Councillor Martin. I only had the same amount of time from the announcement coming out to put this report forward, so absolutely, because even if I do spin something around, then the hope is that council will bring forward more so that we can, wordsmith it into something that obviously will be acceptable.
Further comments? Questions? Does council have anything that they want to add to? I know that our planner and planning manager would probably have lots to say to the government about this. And if council is okay with that, we can just give them the go-ahead to go ahead and prepare something to be sent off. I would even suggest that it doesn't have to come back to council, but that's council's decision, because right now it says return to council with a draft recommendation, but those timelines are very short. And I believe that through our planning and planning manager and the CAO and CFO and Mr. Walsh, I believe we could probably send something back to the province.
Through you, Mayor Davidson, I'd just add to that, there will be a lot of commentary comes out from the various associations that we're part of too, that we'll be able to take a lot of components from and embed within. Everything's going to be unique to Mapleton's situation as well, but a lot of the information should flow from those agencies.
Yeah, I'm just trying to streamline this a little bit without having to come back to council. If council's okay with that, just let the staff send a letter off to. That's council's decision, though. So I need comments from the council on what they would like to do. Would you like a report back from planning manager, or with the short timelines, just let the staff put together something to send off to the government? And then come back with a recap of what they've done later on. Anybody opposed to that? Could I have someone then propose an amendment that we take out, return to council with a draft recommendation? It's part of the recommendation, that direct staff to return to council with draft recommendations. Instead, we can just have direct staff to provide comments. We can miss out that piece. Would that, someone like to move that? Go ahead, Councilor Martin.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm happy to put that motion on the floor. I'd love to be included. Like I said, I'm understanding that other agencies will have comments. I'm actually curious what our planner, what her opinion is on this stuff specifically with a Mapleton flavor. So if it goes directly to the province, great. Don't care. Just love to be included in the response.
It'd come back to us. So we have a movement on the floor. I need a seconder for it. Councilor Reid, thank you. All in favor of the amendment? Okay, that's amended. The council directs staff to provide comments for ERO 026-300, Building Homes and Improving Transportation Infrastructure Act 2026 and related regulatory changes. Any further questions or comments? All in favor? It's carried. Moving on to item 10, with approval of bylaws. Item 10.1, moved by Councilor Reid, seconded by Councilor Martin. That bylaw number 2026-017, being a bylaw respecting building demolition, conditional change of use, and occupancy permits, payment of fees, inspections, appointment of chief building official, and inspectors, and a code of conduct, and to repeal bylaw 99-39, be hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed 14th day of April 2026. Any further comments on this? All in favor? It's carried. Now we have the next resolution, which is 10.6. Again, a bunch of bylaws. Moved by Counselor Martin, second by Counselor Reid, that bylaws number 2026-018 down to 2026-022, being bylaws to amend bylaw number 2010-080, being a zoning bylaw for the Township of Mapleton, be hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed 14th day of April 2026. Any comments, questions on this? All in favor? That's carried. We are number 12, correspondence for council's information. Mr. Clerk has provided us a couple pages of this. Anybody wishing to speak to any of these or has questions for any of these? Just for the public's knowledge, there's only 25 of these reports that the clerk's provided us to look at. Go ahead, Councilor Reid.
Thank you to you, Mayor. I just wanted to maybe just bring up 12.5 and just note the recycling preferences that have been stated from the county. Is there anything more that you can provide based on the solid waste stuff that's gone on or things with the recycling program?
Yeah, the recycling program, of course, we know that it's Ontario, that, you know, Ontario producers are now doing it. So this is a letter from the county trying to help the province understand what we want in the county when it comes to recycling, how we want to have, you know, one bin. We don't want to have a dual stream. We currently have a dual stream with two blue boxes. We're trying to go to one wheelie bin because that's what's going to be coming to us from the producer. So we're looking at one wheelie bin and just put everything in that one piece. Yeah, it's just what's in that letter. It's just our direction to hopefully have the province work with the producer to give us what we want in the county, to make it easier for us, because we know down the road we're going to probably have, well, we already have the little green bins for the organics. That little bin is going to be bigger because when they go to a cart collection, that bin is too small, so they're going to have to make new bins that are bigger. And of course, garbage collection, the next contract is going to be bin collection as well. So that's, we're going to have a big garbage bin, we're going to have a big green bin, and we only want one blue box bin. So that's what the hope is. Now, conversation we had today at the Solid Waste Committee. Right now we have, you know, we're looking at garbage bins for the community, but working garbage bins, blue box bins, green bins for the downtown businesses in the county during winter. And we had this really nasty winter. We had some of those green boxes out there right now with the yellow tops. It was really difficult for the collection to be done when we had all this snow. So we are looking at, when we do the next contract, to retain blue boxes for downtown cores, especially when you have apartments above the businesses, and to not have a wheelie bin for garbage either, to make that just bags, so that they can just pick them up. And so that's one of the things we talked about today. That'll have to go forward to County Council for discussion, but that was moved forward today at Solid Waste. Because looking at downtown cores, especially if you look at our downtown cores, but you look at bigger ones like Center Wellington, having all kinds of bins in the downtown core, they have no place to put them, and they just sit out in front of the stores, and then that doesn't look good on the streetscape either. So we're looking at ways to mitigate that. Learning from other communities is what we're doing. Other communities have already done this, so we're learning from other communities and what's happening there. And that's part of what that letter is. It's like we learn from other communities, and like, we don't want that. This is what we want here in the county. So hopefully that moves the needle a little bit. Anything further? Councillor Ottens.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mayor. Just drawing attention to the Horticultural Society, there was some question as to when their celebration actually was, because I am a member of it, and then they give a little booklet, and it had celebration in September, so I was a little confused. So they actually have two celebrations. So this is the kind of official one with all the bigwigs, and then it's the district meeting, so it doesn't really focus on Moorfields group specifically, other than the part at the beginning, and then they are having a more local celebration in September. So if that is of any relevance or interest to anyone, then that's where you could attend instead of this, but, I mean, this is also important.
You're talking about September, or sorry, April 25th celebration, okay. Anything further? All right. Any notices of motion? We have the notice of provision, Joint Compliance Audit Committee, Municipal Election 2026, that was in the Wellington Advertiser from the county. Number 15 is other business. Anybody have other business? Seeing none, we don't have any closed session. Resolution 17.1, moved by Councilor Reed, second by Councilor Martin, that bylaw number 2026-023, being a bylaw to confirm all actions and proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of Township Mapleton, be hereby read first, second, and third time, signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with a corporate seal. All in favor? That is carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.